Hey guys, welcome to another episode of 180 Briefs. So glad you can join us. Hope you've had an amazing week. Tonight's guest speaker is Pastor Jason Salyers. And so here's a story. There was a burglar who breaks into a house. He's all excited because he knows the family's not home. And he's going around the house and he hears something. He hears a voice, and the voice says, "Jesus is watching." The guy freaks out, turns on his flashlight, looks around, doesn't see anything. So he starts walking through the house, looking for things, shakes it off, just his imagination. And just after a time, he gets, "Jesus is watching you." And he looks again. And then finally, he gets the flashlight and he sees there's a parrot. He kind of shrugs it off, but he looks at the parrot and goes, "Did you say something?" And the parrot squawks again, "Jesus is watching you." So he asks the parrot, "Well, who are you?" And the parrot goes, "Moses, I'm Moses." And he's like, "What kind of people name a parrot Moses?" And the parrot replies, "The same kind of people who name a 150-pound Rottweiler Jesus." So, in life, do you think Jesus is the type that's watching and trying to watch for your mistakes, and you feel like that 130-pound Rottweiler is going to come after you? Or do you think is Jesus as your friend who's got your back and is watching out for you? Down below in the comments, I want you to put what you think. I'm encouraging you all to do this. And I have another story. So this is an actual dream that I had last night. And what it was is was getting ready for worship service. And Pastor Elizabeth and I were supposed to make a video. And in the dream, I'm in somebody's office. And the woman in the office says to me, "Steve, did you do your video for tomorrow's worship service?" And it's like 9 o'clock at night. And I realize that I haven't even thought about it. And I need to do this video. And I wanted to use a fast food restaurant in the video. And I wanted to pull up into the drive-thru, wanted to have the menu there, and the whole point of the video in the stream was that I wanted to pull up to the drive-thru menu and start looking on there, and was going to communicate in this video that these are things in life you want to pick. You have this big menu that may have all these choices in life. What were the things you were going to choose? And so I was going to go sit in the restaurant and kind of get some inspiration as I thought there and plan it. And this is all in my dream that I'm having this issue. And I go into the restaurant and I sit down and I ordered some weird food that I think was actually spawned from a video I watched yesterday. And so I'm sitting there and I'm eating and I look up, and across from me in the corner is Pastor Elizabeth. And she has the same problem. She's trying to figure out what she's going to do for her video. And all this is all of us that are doing videos for our church services and trying to get everything right, we go throughout the week. If you could see the behind the scenes, and maybe I'll videotape one of the behind the scenes Wednesdays, all that's involved and all the problems and all the technology mess ups. It's just amazing. And I think that's what this dream was all about, was, we're trying to get things good because we want to, reach you guys and, keep having the church services going. So, in life, when you come to the menu, what are the things that you want? Also put down in the comment section. And some good news. Next week, Hinsdale Church morning service, we are reopening. It's going to be small. It's going to be hybrid. We're only allowed 50 people according to the state of Illinois. Woohoo! So you can go to I believe you can go to Hinsdale Seventh-day Adventist Facebook page, and I think there is a sign up, so you can sign up. So, because it's gonna be limited seating, only letting 50 people in. We don't want you to get there and be like, oh, turn away because you didn't sign up. So, sign up if you're interested in coming to the worship service next weekend. And glad you guys can join us. Love y'all. Hope you're having a great week. If you have prayer requests, send them to 180hsdac@gmail.com. Or if you happen to have my number, you can text me anytime. All right, guys. Love you and goodbye.
Hi, 180 families. Pastor Jason coming to you from my basement. And my apologies to Steve, because as you know, today is Steve's birthday. Happy birthday, Steve. But as my little unexpected birthday gift to Steve, he has had to wait for this video for a very long time, because this is like my 4th or 5th time even recording it and trying to upload it, and it's been a disaster. And the only thing I can say is technology, right? But anyway, I want to say happy birthday to Steve. Thank you for hanging in there with me. But 180 family, let's talk about the little sermonette I want to share with you. This week, as I was thinking about what I would be sharing with you, I came across this great story. Well, I don't know if it's a great story, but it's a story anyway. A story from this past Thursday. It was released. And there's a story about a guy named Joseph Flavel. Joseph lives in the UK. Now, Joseph is 19, and last year in March, on March 1st, Joseph was, I'm not exactly sure how this happened, but he ended up getting hit by a car. And poor Joseph, he has been in a coma. Now, over the last 11 months, Joseph has had COVID twice, but Joseph didn't know that because Joseph has been in a coma for the last 11 months. Now, think about this. How much has life changed? How much has society gone through all these different morphs and whatever else, right? Life is drastically and dramatically different today than it was 12 months, a year ago, right? And Joseph has missed all of this because he's been in a coma. It kind of reminds me of that cheesy movie from the 90s called Blast from the Past with Brendan Fraser. And this guy, he was living in this bomb shelter with his family, and then he emerges all these years later to find this completely different world. Well, it's kind of like that for Joseph. He's lived through, but he's not been aware of all these major changes in the world. I mean, think about it. On March 1st last year, we were still here in the U.S., and I think it was still the same in the U.K., we were still going out to eat. We were still celebrating birthdays. We were still, it was life as normal, really, basically. But there have been some very dramatic changes and shifts since then, not just with COVID, but all of the things that follow that, right? Everyone's wearing masks now, and we have to stay socially distant, and we had to start washing our hands. Whoever thought? No, I'm joking about that part. Yes, we were all washing. At least I hope we were all washing our hands before. But anyway, all these other pieces. Like one way through the grocery store, you go down this aisle, and then just all these things, right? his family is really struggling with how in the world do we explain this? How in the world do we catch him up to speed? I mean, cognitively, it's one thing for him to cognitively understand, but it's something else for him to like be able to fully wrap his mind around it and to really see or understand like all these giant changes that the world has gone through and that he has sort of missed and that he now has to get caught up to speed on. And no matter what we're facing in life, you and me, we may not have to be brought up to speed on major changes in life, but there are things that are hard for us to grasp. There are things that cause uncertainty in our lives, right? There are things that you and I deal with and go through that, I mean, honestly, how do we do it? How do we get through these uncertain times? And now I'm not talking about just COVID, I'm talking about COVID, yes, and our finances, yes, and our jobs, yes, but the other things too in life, like how do we get through these, maybe a bad medical diagnosis or some fear about our job or relationships that we're in or whatever. Like there's real fear, there are real things that we need help in getting through and guidance in understanding. And so that's what Joseph's family is really wrestling with. How do we explain this to him? How do we bring him up to speed? But then also, how do we do it in a way that he's, we're careful with him? And it reminds me that even though that's his story, our story again is it has relatable pieces to it because we all go through things, right? We all go through things that we need God's guidance. We need the Holy Spirit to comfort us and walk beside us. And it reminds me of this story about a little boy who decided that one day he was going to tell his mom, I don't want you to walk me to school anymore. I'm a big boy. I don't need it anymore. And, I don't know what the boy's name was. We'll just call him, these stories, they all have the same, right? The little boy's name was Johnny, or the little boy's name was Tim, right? We always come up with those things, but I don't know what the boy's name was, so we're going to call him Bocephus. Anyway, so Bo, for short, told his mom, hey, you know what? I don't want you to walk me to school anymore. And Bo's mom, she didn't really know what to do. I mean, she wanted to watch over her son. She wanted to make sure that he was safe as he got to school. But he was making it very clear he didn't want her to walk him to school anymore. So she said, you know what? I'll let you go to school. I'll let you walk to school if you take your friend Timmy with you. Yeah, there it is. You knew it was coming, right? Timmy. Okay, so if I'll let you go to school, I'll let you walk to school if you walk with your friend Timmy. So Bo said, okay, yeah, that's fine. So Bo and Timmy every day would walk to school together. Well, the mom was still kind of lurking in the shadows. She was still hanging back a little ways. And Bo came home one day and said, Mom, I don't want you walking to school with me. She says, I'm not walking to school with you. She says, but I can still see you. I don't want you there. I'm a big boy now. So Bo's mom got an idea. And she asked one of her neighbors. She said, hey, Bo wants to walk to school every day with one of the little kids. And I've allowed them. But I'm not sure that they're super safe. Would you be willing to take a walk every day at the same time and just kind of walk and make sure you can hang back in the distance, but just walk and make sure that they make it there safely? I know you take a walk every day. And the friend said, yeah, not a problem. I actually go for a walk every single day with our little toddler. And she and I we won't mind going, and we'll just kind of linger in the background and watch and make sure they get there to school safely. And the mom said, oh, that's so wonderful. Thank you so much. Well, Bo and Timmy were walking to school every day, and they were big boys, and they were having, a good time, and they'd get there safely. And every day, this neighbor would walk with her little toddler, just kind of lurking in the background, just making sure they would get there safely. Well, one day, Timmy turns to Bo and goes, hey, have you ever noticed that woman that walks with that little girl? She walks every single day following us. And Bo said, yeah, actually, I've noticed it too. And Timmy said, well, who is she? What's the story? And Bo says, well, that's Shirley. That's Shirley Goodniece and her daughter Marcy. And Timmy says, I don't know who that is. I don't, how do you know their names? You've never talked with them before? And Bo said, well, you know what? Every morning before I leave for school, Mommy prays a prayer with me. And she prays this prayer that goes, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. And she ends up talking about how surely good niece and her daughter Marcy will follow us all the days of our lives. So obviously he was misunderstanding Mom. But I think that the point is really great. And I think the point is really cool there. Because the idea there is that goodness and mercy will follow us all the days of our lives. You know, there's this ancient thinking, and I don't know if this is just something that's apocryphal and made up, or if this is a real thing, but there's this old, ancient, thousands of years old teaching, belief that David, the shepherd boy, as he was watching over his sheep, he had a couple of little sheep that always not just followed him around, but pursued him, had to be with him, had to be following him, had to be close by, had to just be wherever he was. And that he named one goodness and he named the other one mercy. Now, again, probably an apocryphal story, but the point is this. David, who grew up to be King David, and knew about what it was like to be a shepherd, and knew God well enough, he writes that goodness and mercy would follow. But the word he uses there is not just follow, it's pursue. It's relentlessly, recklessly pursue. Would not let anything get in the way of pursuing, of following David all the days of his life. And we have a God that's like that, who will recklessly pursue us, who will relentlessly follow us, chase after us. We have a God that's like that. So whatever we're facing, whatever uncertainties, whatever challenges, whatever frustrations, whatever concerns we have, maybe it's work related, maybe it's related to our home and our housing situation. I don't know what you're living through, but we have a God who relentlessly and recklessly pursues us with goodness and mercy. Will you pray with me? And Father, as I think about Joseph Flavel over there in the UK and how his parents are trying to figure out how in the world they can break this just crazy news to him and how he can withstand that mentally. Father, as I think about the things that we go through here on this earth, and each one of us that are watching here today, we're all dealing with different things. We're dealing with different uncertainties. We're dealing with different concerns. But Father, each one of us at the end of the day, we still have these concerns and we still have these uncertainties and we still need you. We still need you. So Father, I pray that you would not just pursue us, but that you would remind us in a very special, very powerful, and very poignant way that you are pursuing us with goodness and mercy. And I pray these things in the precious, powerful, and mighty name of Jesus. Amen. Hey, thank you, 180. God bless you this week. And again, happy birthday, Steve. Sorry this took me so many tries to get to you. Happy Sabbath, happy birthday. Be blessed, everyone.